Hi, welcome. This is Art of Rock. It's Sunday morning and we're in the mood to rock and make mayhem happen. Every Sunday we come here to talk about rock and roll and the fun things about rock and roll and together learning and making rock and roll. So if you haven't joined Angelspit's Twitch yet, do it because it's where it's all at. Bloody everything is happening every Sunday this time. This content and today was made possible by Angelspit's incredible Patreon supporters, many of whom are here with me now. And if you're not a Patreon supporter, you're so welcome to hang out. It's totally cool. So there's a thing, and it's a bloody good thing. Angelspit's new album is out. It's called Diesel Priest. I'm very proud of it. It will fuck your brain up, which is what we need to do to brains in this day and age. And I'm getting a lot of feedback about the lyrics, which is good, because I didn't fuck around with them lyrics. Angelspit's also releasing the new single Killed on Camera. That comes out tomorrow, December 10th, which is also the anniversary of the passing of Bowie. And I did that on purpose because Bowie is a fucking legend. There's a new video out, new single out from Cut Like This. Angelspit contributed to it. It's called Boogeyman, and it's fucking legendary. There's a whole bunch of tracks you need to know about on Spotify now. And Julius, we need to add some tracks from your new album. And I also have to add Boogeyman on there. Speaking of Julius's new album, clatter, 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 say the things. Boom! It just dropped on Friday and it's bloody good fun. So check that mad shit out. I know what's going on and I'm really happy with my life. Yes, I am. If you like your music non-stop and from the abyss, you need to tune into MTV TV. They're on Twitch. And if you're bored at work, just leave it playing in the background because you're gonna find your favorite new band on MTV TV now. MTV TV also have a Patreon going. If you can, help them out there because it ain't cheap running a 24-hour gothic, darkwave, industrial thing. So go help those rock stars out. And after we've done here, we are going to on over to, we're going to raid on over to MTV TV like crazies. Your mic's alive. Welcome to Art of Rock. It's January the 9th. Julius, I believe you have a question. John, what the fuck are you doing?
Looks like pickup sticks.
Organizing my life.
All right.
Jumper lead pickup sticks.
Great. Julius, hit me with your rhythm stick.
Okay, so I decided to make a website for band shots, and so we're talking about the band website, and I wanted to know, like, how should I approach this? How do I build a band website? I have decided to use Google Sites for now. Maybe I will switch over to WordPress later. What contents should I put on the website? And in my case, I'm a band and I offer services for mixing. Should I put them on the same website or should I separate them? That's my questions.
That's great. Luckily, we're here today with several hardcore web people. Alex just put his hand up. So Alex, you go. John, I'm hoping to hear from you and Mark and everybody else. Go. Alex, hit me.
Yeah, I'll go first so I can be corrected later. I think I would go for the simple solution with websites that you don't have too much upkeep, because I always hear like people complaining that keeping up their website and patching it and so on takes too much time, and so they try to they gravitate more to more package solutions where you don't have to do much, but have like one thing where you just have to put your content on, which is enough work in itself. And also, I think I would put them separately, but maybe link them somehow.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you. John, I'm going to go after you, but now here's John.
Hey there. So websites, it's a double-edged sword. Like, do you really need one? Like most artists, it's not a bad idea to have one, but if you have one, you need to maintain it. So whatever needs to be there needs to be relevant. So if you want to put a blog on your website, for example, then you have to keep maintaining that blog. And you have to keep it. You have to keep updating it. If you have any dates on it whatsoever, that's going to give context, and someone's going to look at it and it's like, oh, this hasn't been updated since 2006. this must be a dead project. So it's like, unless it's like hyper relevant, for example, like a release date of an album, leave dates off of it. Keep it minimal as possible, reduce the number of moving pieces. Using a tool like Google Sites makes a lot of sense. So you can also use Wix or Squarespace or what have you. Or WordPress.com, like hosted WordPress, or there's a ton of other websites that will host WordPress. Those are all fine. The only thing I would say is if you try to self-host it, then you need to maintain it. You need to make sure that the software that you're using is constantly up to date, is patched, and so you don't like wake up one day and somebody has posted something completely irrelevant on your website because they've taken it over due to a security vulnerability. So what needs to be on it? Elevator pitch, like who you are, what your inspirations are, like who your audience is, examples of it, and also tour dates if you have them. History of tour dates is actually pretty awesome, including live streams. It's like those give context, especially like to any bookers or anything. It's like shows that you know how to do a gig. So, but yeah, keep it simple, keep it evergreen. Carl.
That's really good advice. Okay, so speaking as somebody who's had a website for, Jesus Christ, nearly 20 years now for Angelspit, it started off as text, straight old-fashioned HTML 3 or 4, I can't remember. And that was a pain in the cock. Then we moved over to WordPress. And I couldn't import everything. And let's make the assumption that your project's going to be around for many, many years. So when you go from Google whatever to WordPress or whatever, when you go from site to site model every couple of years, which you're going to, make sure that stuff can be imported and exported. Because at the state Angelspit's page is now, I don't think I could move it because it's fucking enormous. Everything Angelspit has ever done, actually no it's not, but there's a lot. There's so much fucking shit up there. And according to Google, people search. Like I have all the lyrics, everything, and according to I get a Google thing every month going, yeah, people are hitting your website quite a lot actually. Actually not a lot at all, but more than I thought would. And they're hitting lyrics, and they're not spiders either. They're not bots, they're humans. They're looking for lyrics, they're looking for releases, stuff like that. Because it's hosted on our own server, I've got to stop saying our. Because it's hosted on my own server, I like saying our server, on our own server. I have a really good friend in Ireland who's a webmaster, and he keeps the baddies at bay. And there's been a lot of baddies. Like I've been hacked quite a few times because WordPress isn't always up to date or whatever, just like what John said. So you got to back it up. People are going to want to know, because the thing about Facebook and all of that other stuff is it just goes and goes and goes and it's gone. So they want to know your albums, your releases, your remixes, everything you do, and links to where they can get them. Use it using the lyrics and all of that sort of stuff. The cool thing about WordPress is that there's a plugin for albums. You can get an album plugin that's got a lyric page plugin. I direct all sales to Bandcamp because I used to have Etsy. It used to be on Etsy, then it was on Big Cartel, then it was on Shopify, and then Amazon, and I just went, you know what, fuck always changing these fucking links. I'm going to go with Bandcamp because Bandcamp's probably going to be around for a lot longer. There are links to the SoundCloud, links to videos, links to all of that sort of shit, because if somebody wants to deep dive into your band and find out the product they did 20 years ago or 2 years ago or is coming up right now, then boom. The other cool thing is that, there's a banner at the front, which is if there's a Kickstarter, that's what the banner is. If I'm releasing an album or a single, that's what the banner is. Yes, it's a lot of work. From what I can tell, it's worth it. But and I also put reviews and interviews up there as well, because reviews and interviews move. I'll always copy and paste the text, then have a read more, click to read the original article, and on more occasions than I can think of, that original article isn't there anymore. So I have got lots more to say, but I see hands of people who know a whole bunch of shit. Rob, go.
Yeah. Biggest thing is to upkeep what you invest in. So first start off with your branding. So you're going to want to get a URL or a website or a domain name that matches your band best as possible. That's the first thing, because people want to know that that's your identity and it's not somebody else. Then you want to basically get the best deal year on year to pay for that URL and that hosting. Because if you lapse on that, somebody might take it off you and it's gone. So you've got to have a regimented routine of making sure you always have your upkeep on your domain and your hosting plan. The next thing is your branding itself on your page. So think about the graphics that you use for your band name should be recognizable on the top of the web page. It should be the same font that you use for any of your releases. So people are going to identify that as soon as they see that font and that name, they're going to smile. The next thing is Carl's point. You want to have some flashy stuff on your page that gets them excited. So the posters, the images, take some still shots from your videos, pop them on the web page, and also take some like micro clips of your video as well. Something that's maybe not on YouTube or somewhere else that you can find it. Have like a 3-second glimmery video pasted into your page so it kind of creates that momentum of excitement. And then, most of the other guys I mentioned, if you've got a menu system or a context menu that comes standard with your plugins or your, whatever comes with your host, if it's WordPress, it's WordPress. But things like news, your discography, your live events, if you're doing any, whether they're in virtual or actual gigs. You might have some store merch, so you can have a link in there. A lot of the hosts will have e-commerce backend. So if you want to sell your albums, your posters, your hoodies, your cool stuff that you're starting to get into, you might as well get it set up, right up front, because it's all part of the package. Set it up, take the time, do it properly, work out the commerce, the payments, and then have a follow link. And that's where you're going to put your Instagram, your Facebook, or whatever you care about. Your YouTube links might be under discography, or your Vimeo links might be under discography. Just so long as people know where to get more of that drug that you've opened them up to. That's my view. Hi, Rose.
Thank you. Welcome, Rose and Brandon. Just before I throw it to you, Eric, also a really strong thing about a website is that that's where you have all your search engine optimization tag words and stuff. So if you're uploading an article or a review or an interview or something about your CD that's coming up, that's where Google's going to be looking for when people Google you. And 6 months before I release an album, I will create an album page for it. It will be live, it will be hidden, but Google's robots will find it. And it's got the tags, the name of it. So 6 months out, if you type in Angelspit's 2021 album, Diesel Priest will come up as blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, Eric, that was your dance ballroom floor and I was dancing on it. You know what I mean. Go, Eric, go.
Maybe we can share the next dance, Carl, together. Aw. Yeah, so I just made my webpage, Julius, a couple months ago, and I like to keep things simplistic, so I didn't really want to bother having a host and a .com separate and putting everything together. So I actually went through Zoog, and I've been really happy with them so far. And they give you the .com, you own it through them, and you can build the website through them themselves, which I found very easy because I didn't want to spend a lot of time doing all of this. And the main reason I did it and I suggest that you have a landing page on your website, because then you don't have to go through Linktree or any other websites that are going to take your own traffic away from you and give them money and traffic. If you have a landing page, or at least have links to all your social media things on your web page, so then that way, when you on your Instagram account or your Facebook account, you can literally direct people to your own web page as your main thing instead of like a link tree, so you get the traffic for it. Also with Bandzoogle, you don't have to link to your music or anything. I mean, you can do, Bandcamp, whatever you want, but they have since it's made for musicians, they have their own section that you can put your music on, and then you get 100% of all profits for your music or merchandise. Shirts, sweatshirts, CDs, digital, whatever you're selling, you get 100% of whatever money it is.
How much are you paying for this?
I do the light version, and it's $8. If you have to pay for the full year. It's like $8.39 a month, I think, and you pay for the full year.
Okay, so you get to sell MP3s on that, album MP3s, and you take 100% for $8 a month.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have 2 more tiers. I'm not big enough to have those higher tiers. I don't remember the exact numbers, Carl. The first tier is like 100. You're allowed 100 people on your mailing list. The second tier is like 1,000, and then the third tier is unlimited everything. And it's like $8, $12, and $15 a month or something like that. But don't quote me on those numbers. But you get 100% of everything you sell through the website. They give you 100% commission, which is awesome. And you have a mailing list. And like I said, everything's put together, so it's easier for me, who I don't understand .coms and combining things. I'm not like an internet person. I'm more of just a physical computer nerd than I am actually going on internet stuff. So it's easier for me. And what else do I want to say? Landing page. Yeah, that was pretty much it. But I do suggest them.
Can you put their link in the description?
Sure. Oh, actually, yeah. And here's my website. I'll put it in the description too. That's my page that I built through them. And for somebody who doesn't know HTML very well, it was very easy for me to build.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. That amount of money because we all jump up and down and pee our pants on Bandcamp Fridays, but when you're paying $8 a month flat fee, and you get 0 commission, you get the whole amount of money for a digital sale or anything else.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good deal. I think.
Yeah, it's like 8 and change for the light version, for the lowest tier one.
And even if it only gives you like 100 people on your mailing list, you can still set up a MailChimp and bypass it completely. That's really good. Okay. Thank you very much, Eric. That was great. Alex.
Just wanted to quickly throw in, you should maybe look that it's also easily navigatable on the cell phone. If you buy it prepackaged, it's probably already the case, but just in case, I think that's something to consider.
You're totally relevant, man. John.
Hey, couple things. This is a fantastic conversation, and like really appreciating it. Carl, to your point about linking, having a local copy of your interviews and or reviews, absolutely. And another thing you can do is link to the Internet Archive, which spiders versions of people's websites. And so you can provide a secondary link to that. So if the original link goes dead, that one is likely to stick around. It'll be slower, but it'll still exist. You still should have a local copy of it, but it's good to have the citation just so people look at it and it's like, oh, you didn't just put somebody else's word in your mouth. For domain squatting, I registered a joke domain years and years and years ago called massivewang.com. I decided to let it lapse because it was like, it's puerile. I grew out of that. And then I decided a couple of years ago, it's like, I want it back. There was a domain squatter. They had taken it. I emailed them. They was like, I want $200 for it. It's like, I did this as a joke. It's like, I'll give you $5. And they're like, all right, for you, 150. I'm like, fuck off. And then I looked at the expiration date and set a calendar entry and waited, and it expired. And then I snapped it up, for $8, and it is mine. So I own massivewang.com, which is now like right now it's just a land. There's nothing there, but like I own it again. So that's true story. Eric, for the concern that you had about traffic being taken from Linktree, until you're getting tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of hits per day, don't worry about it. What matters more is having a consistent landing page, like, you know, somewhere where you can send people. So if you're sending everybody to Linktree, that's fine. If you're sending everybody to your .com, that's fine too. Like whatever it is, as long as it's consistent and you control it, then it doesn't really matter what the source is.
Fantastic. Oh, the chats are about to set on fire with Massive Wang, with johnsmassivewang.com. Rose, be an adult. Actually, no, don't be an adult. That's boring.
Well, I just wanted to second Van Zoogle. That's what I use as my backend for my website, and it's got a lot of very intuitive tools to help you build your site. A bunch of really slick looking templates. You can even have like a video headers and stuff like that. Like you can really map out your site using Van Zoogle and make it look really, really good. So yeah, I second that. And you know, I use a lot of the I've been using it for I think like 2-3 years now, and I never really have had any kind of problems with it. So yeah, I recommend it.
Awesome. Thank you. So does anybody else have anything they want to put in except Rob? Thank you, Rose, and congrats. I pimped you. Yeah, thank you. I pimped your new release. So thank you again. Does anybody else have any? And I don't want anybody to talk about massivewang.com and Kittenhole. That's wrong. Does anybody have anything they want to say on this very important adult conversation?
Massivewang.com's backend was written in PHP, which is the loosest, sloppiest programming language out there. Okay.
God. Thank you, John. Does anybody else have anything?
All right. Let's get serious again. Okay. So for the new single and the remix, if you guys have not seen it, go to the Cut Like This Music YouTube and go check them out. I made 2 lyric videos. I worked insanely hard on these videos, and I mentioned this in one of the other chats that you should all be making lyric videos for your songs. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to post in the chat. I'm going to post the links to the video, and then I'm going to post also the links to how you can make your own lyric video using entirely free tools. It's a very barbaric method. There's actually way better ways to do that in DaVinci Resolve. This is a tutorial using DaVinci Resolve and a free image editor and stuff like that. This guy goes about it in a very barbaric way, and there actually were people in the comments like, but you can use the Fusion page to do this and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? My experience was that when I decided to make these lyric videos, I ended up having to I taught myself how to use like 3 different programs to create these things. And it was like a massive, insane amount of work because, of course, I couldn't do something simple. I had to do a crazy animated pixel version of all of us in the videos and stuff like that. So I made our own custom little pixel guys and stuff. It was really cute. So you guys should definitely check it out. But anyway, so I combined 2 tutorials. So I put a link to both of those tutorials in the chat, and I'll put it also in the Discord for you guys later on. But it was a really interesting experience. And what I learned was I did a whole bunch of different tutorials to figure out how to do a lyric video for free in DaVinci Resolve. And this guy's method, while barbaric, took the least amount of processing power from my computer. Because when I tried to do it through Fusion, I kept getting to certain points and my computer kept crashing because I didn't have enough room on it. So if you're somebody who's on a budget, who, you know, maybe, you know, your computer is not the fastest, most up-to-date computer, whatever, this method that I put the link to will work, and you will be able to make, you know, a lyric video, it may be a little barbaric, but it will get the job done. And that's really what's important. Done is better than perfect. So yeah, if anybody has any questions about that experience or anything like that, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Rose. I'm not muted. Okay, good. Julius, I see your hand.
One more question about the website thing. In my case, like I said, I want to offer my mixing services as well and would like to present my band too. And in my case, it actually has the same name. The band is called Brandschatz and the mixing service is Brandschatz Music. So should I use 2 different domains for it? Or what are your recommendations?
What I want to do is, Alex, I want to go in the order of hands. I want to answer that, but I'm going to go after Eric. So, Alex, what you got?
I just wanted to add to Rose. I've spoken with my sister, who is like a bit younger than me, about music, and she really thinks lyric videos are important because she looks up if the song has a lyric video and it's like something that's like important to her. So I second her opinion. But also, I think the video isn't live because I only can access it via the link, but not search it on YouTube. Maybe you still have it unlisted, if that wasn't intended.
I'll check that right now. Hold.
Rock and roll. Alex, okay, thank you, Alex. Eric, and I'm going to go in after you, Eric. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Eric, go.
Julius, I think, especially since you're using the same name, I would put it on your one website and have like a tab, like have your music about and have a separate mixing section on your website. So everything's directed to one place, especially since you're using the same name. And that would also help if you mix people's albums and you go through that way, it might also help and boost your sales and your popularity through your music as well. Because if you're mixing other people's stuff, you're going to hear that mix and be like, oh, I like the way this guy mixes stuff, and check out your music, and everything's going to be right there for people.
Bloody awesome. So, yeah. And perhaps be offering your services as a marketable link. As in a merch thing. But I guess it's going to be different per job. I would keep it all under the same house. And if you have a page specifically for people who want to, mix, use your services. If it's a standard price, then maybe set it up as a merch item, like a T-shirt, $50 merch mix a track, or 100 or whatever it is. I'm going to throw that to Mark now.
Okay, there we go. So I was gonna say 2 websites, but now I'm not sure, because what I'm thinking is if someone's like, hey, I want mixing services, and they're like, okay, so I'm gonna go to Brandschatz. Oh wait, this is a band page. So now I have to click another link to get to mixing services. So like I'm leaning more towards, if money is not super tight, have 2 websites, but have links to the other website on each website. So it's, hey, I want mixing services, I go here. And then there's a link to, hey, to see my work, go here. And then if you go to the music website, then, like, hey, for my mixing services, go here. Like I'm just big on compartmentalizing things. That's just me.
Yes. I'm going to go in after Sean because I have more to talk about this. Thank you, Mark. John?
Hey, so my thoughts are, it's hard enough to get people to go to your website. Don't have 2 websites. You also need to maintain 2 websites. 2 .coms, 2 fees. Everything grows exponentially. Keep it focused. Have a separate section. Don't conflate the 2. Like have it, it's like, have like the primary as the artist page, and then have like mixing or mastering or however, or audio production or just production as a title. have it as a different subsection. I like the idea of having it as like a merch or like something that you can do a la carte, even if it just starts the conversation and you end up billing them in a completely different way anyway. But it's a conversion funnel. But yeah, don't segment your audience when it's hard enough just to get people to come to you in the first place.
Thank you, John. Drake, what you got?
Yeah, I disagree with what you're saying, John. If it's kind of like, depending on your technical skills, like for me personally, I would create 2 separate websites just so that I could capitalize on the SEO gain of having like dash music production or something as part of the URL, so that, if you're just looking to get business organically through Google, you have some hope of kind of, targeting those folks that are coming through Google, but not coming through your specific name. So if it were me, I would have the separate domain. Maybe the music production page would be like even a single page, and then have them linked together through the menu system. You could even use the same theme for both sites, so that the user who's landing on the website isn't even aware that they're going to a different website when they click on music production. And the same menu is on the music production website, so that when they click back to your music, they're flipping back to your music site, but the entire experience is transparent to the user. I would do that just for the SEO benefit, search engine optimization, bang for my buck. But I'm a technical web developer type person, so that just makes sense for me. It wouldn't necessarily make sense for everyone.
Thanks, Drake. Sean, welcome.
Hey, actually, I think Drake just kind of summed up where I was kind of going to go with that, and I haven't quite managed to get there yet. But I've been wondering, whether I've been evolving in that whole thing, because my music was always under Die Blind, but production was, and DJing and remixes and all of that was under Live Evil Productions, and I wasn't quite sure. This is a great question on how to go about it. And it's moved into that where I kind of combining the two, and the band is kind of coming under the umbrella of the production company. So my own band is kind of under that banner, but exactly where Drake went there is kind of what I'm working towards, to have that separate experience, but all under that main banner.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Can I go on a rant? I don't know. Let's take a vote on this. Actually, fuck yes. I'm ranting. So, Julius, this is a really interesting question, and you've hit on this, Sean, and a couple of you guys have hit on this. What is the business structure of your band? Oh my God, business structure? Seriously? That's even more boring than marketing. But let's go there now. What is the business structure of your band versus DJ, and all of the things that are under the umbrella? Totally relevant. For me, and I have a background in business. I've done small business and all that. I've got, blah, 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 blah. Everything for me is Angelspit. If I mix another band, if I remix them, if I produce their album, it's Angelspit. And you can go, oh, but it's kind of different. But no, it's kind of the same, because ultimately, firstly, from a taxation point of view, I am in the state of California doing business as Angelspit. So all of these other sub things don't exist from a taxation and business point of view. And this has got everything to do with your URL. Just wait. Exactly what John said. When you start subdividing yourself and making side projects, and oh my God, you're going to splinter your audience. What you want is one asteroid to wipe out the planet. You don't want a whole bunch of little tiny bits of fucking rock that are going to get burnt up in the upper atmosphere. Take that one from me. You want a punch that takes it out, that does the job. And even if your SEO or your Google stuff and everything heads towards the one URL, because you are putting all of your energy into that one URL and everything to do with that one thing, good. Because the amount of times I've released a remix album and someone said, hey man, will you remix my band? Based on my sound or based on whatever, they've come in through this other thing, which is Angelspit, not through I offer remixing services. I don't actually advertise that. It's all separate emails. It's not that I don't advertise it. It's just that because of the amount of stuff that people can take in, I just don't bother. Because I'd rather be pushing my own music and sales and shit like that than, hey, let me remix you or produce you or whatever else. And also, from a generating income perspective, creating an album is your number one. It furthers your band, it furthers your project, it's the number one income. It will become the number one income because you're getting royalties from that. When you're mixing, doing remixes, and quiet from producing, you are not getting royalties. And if you're getting royalties on any of them, it's going to be production. I've totally gone off on a rant here, and I apologize. So as far as you're concerned, Julius, if I was in your position, it would be brandshots, and everything comes through that. And there would be a drop-down menu or a menu option that is mixing services or something like that. But remember that most of the clients that are going to come your way are going to talk to you directly. They will probably definitely not come in from a Google search. Whereas finding out about your lyrics, finding about your albums, buying your merch will probably be through Facebook ads or social media mentions and Google fucking searches. When people want you to do their album or work on their album, they want to make contact with you because you're carrying their baby. So they want to talk to a human. That's just my thoughts on this. I see your hand.
Thank you for this. I still think it's vital to have a website when you're serious with your business and your band, because it's like a business card. And
absolutely,
in my opinion. So I have been using just social media for 1.5 years now, and it's just not enough. I realized that when I created the press release where I put all my links in, and I didn't have a website. It just felt not professional.
Yeah, totally agree. I totally agree. Plus, it's a clearinghouse where all of your lyrics and everything else will be, and it does get visited, because Carl did a big rant just then on fucking, my God, the internet sucks so much these days. Does anybody else want to throw into this or comment or anything like that? Or does anybody have another question? So does anybody else want to put in or add to the topic of websites? Or we could change the pace. Okay, looks like, Alex.
I have an old question, but it's not urgent, so anyway. We talked previously about like magazines and CDs with magazines. And I was just curious, what's the process of getting your band or your track onto one of those magazines, and if you think it's worth it?
Sure. Can I shoot my mouth off about this one? We have sort of talked about this in the past. What magazine is that?
In this case, it's Sonic Seducer, but I think there are like 3 Gothic magazines that do this kind of stuff.
Hey, hold on a minute. It's right here. Hey, while we're here talking about this, there's a new American magazine that started. I'm going to pimp these guys, because starting a magazine, a print magazine, in this day and age is so hard. I got this for like $15, and that included the post. It's really nice, black and white, a whole bunch of interviews. It looks bloody awesome. So these guys have just started up. This is actually issue number 5, and if you're in a position to support these people, possession, support them. Because I tell you, man, oh yeah, nothing beats a magazine. And putting one of these things out is expensive. So if you want to help them out, help them out. And thank you once again. I'm just going to post this into the links because I just totally... now, come on. Hold on, I want to try that again because I think I got it wrong. Hold on, I got it wrong. Hold on, bear with me. Okay, so we talked about Gemma or Gemma and the realities of mechanical royalties. Is it free to put your... I think some of these guys charge to have your CD. Like it's if you buy this quarter page ad, you can be on the CD as well. We'll offer you that. So usually there is an advertising thing in there as well because it's very expensive having a magazine. They're not cheap. So the problem you're going to have is mechanical royalties, and that is you're due to a royalty every time somebody prints a mechanical version, a physical version of with your music on it. You get a royalty. That means that Gemma or Gimma or ASCAP or BMI or APRA or the British Composers Guild, they're going to step in and go, these people get a cut. For you to release that royalty to Gemma costs 800 euros. I know because I've paid it. And they said, oh, don't worry about it because you'll get your money back. I didn't. I epically didn't. I think I got like $30 or $40. So if you're going to put a track on there, make sure that it's not registered with Gemma or the version of the track is not registered with Gemma, and that means you need its own ISRC, and it needs to be a unique track, a unique mix. It might be a unique version, and it's the Sonic Seducer version. I don't know if it's worth it, because my whole thing comes down to, well, if I spend... I will pull a number randomly from the air, $300 US on a quarter page ad, and it's going to hit X people. What happens if I spend that $300 somewhere else? What if I spend that $300 on a Facebook ad campaign, or I do a Spotify ad campaign, or I do a campaign through Boost, who is going to hit Spotify? Will that be better? Will that be my money better spent and I get a return on my investment? Will it be better? Because things are tight. I just went on a total rant there. I don't know if I answered the question, but Eric's got his hand up.
I definitely don't have the knowledge Carl does about the money in within magazines and how it's split up and stuff, Alex. But I was going to suggest what Carl was saying towards the end there is it's advertising for yourself. So it depends on how much money you want to put into your advertising and where you want to put it. And if it is remixed, if it's free, definitely always do it. If you don't have to pay anything for it. But I've actually started doing that recently too, is where do I want to spend my money to promote myself? And for me, it's like, I'd rather spend $50 to enter songwriting competitions or something now to get my music out there or try to advertise and get it out than Instagram or Facebook. Where do you want to put your money to invest in yourself is how I look at it now.
Okay, thank you. Sean, I'm going to go in after you because this tied in with the question about business. Here we go. Sean, I'm after you. Go.
So it's an interesting question because there's so many avenues to take, and been kind of experimenting with some of those with a few clients as well. And there's the do-it-yourself ethos of the 80s punk movement still works, but in a digital environment, building your own network of targeted people. I think the key thing is to whatever avenue you're going to use is that the market that you're hitting is that you're spending the money on is what you want, and that hopefully that person represents 10 people, not one. So if you can find I've had great results recently with certain PR people that are not the ones that are filling your inbox, but that have spent the time and the years creating personal networks and connections with, yes, some of the magazines you're referring to, but DJs and radio stations, what have you, around the world, and make sure that they provide you with a breakdown of everyone that was sent to, everyone responded, what the response was, that type of thing, so you can have a good idea of how your track was received. And the thing about that is that you really start to pick up traction, because everyone that they're hitting that does a positive response, that is turning into, say, 10 instead of 1. So it's I've seen great results with that, with a couple of projects that have gone really well with that. So take it for what it is. I'm not as much of an expert on, as you noted, Facebook and what have you, but maybe you can educate me on that, because I'm hesitant, because it just seems like a big sphere of millions of people, and I just don't know where it's really going, right?
Sean, can I ask you, would you be willing to share, because using PR people, because I was talking to Rose about this, is that the sort of thing you'd be willing to share with us, who you used,
sure,
and how
absolutely.
much they were? We could do that off camera if you want.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I can give you a general, just a general idea, depending. I mean, I can't speak for all of them, but the person that I'm using, sorry, my dog is very wanting my attention. He's very reasonable, and 300, say for doing a single video, release around what have you, or a whole album is going to be, not a whole lot more. Depends on the type of campaign and what you're really wanting to focus on. But the good thing is that they know people, so you can be guaranteed of certain types of coverage, and you can get verified information, which is critical, because a lot of these places are just not like that at all.
Okay, thank you. This is
I'll fire his info into the chat.
Thank you very much. This conversation is really huge, and it's because I have smashed my head against the wall on this one for years. Like, is it worth getting a press person, or isn't it? I have a really huge, I've got a really decent collection of DJs who, if I send a track out, it will get played. I have a pretty good selection of press, but press are really difficult. Because press are so hard. We've talked about this before. So, I'm always going, like, for me, is it worth spending the money to use someone? Every single time I have done this, I've regretted it. And I'm not really angry at them. I don't really blame them. I just know that you're throwing the dice. And what press are doing predominantly, a press person does, is press hit press outlets. And then, like you said, Sean, that press outlet is supposed to hit 10 people. But the problem that I have all right, firstly, there's not many press anymore. And, if I'm wrong in that, please somebody tell me, but I'm looking at press sites, and I'm looking at the industrial music staples, who are the only people, frankly, who are interested in doing this shit, are covering us. And all of them are overwhelmed. Well, most of them, because I know these people personally, are overwhelmed. They have a backlog. They've just got COVID. They're losing their job. Here are 20 reasons why they can't provide you with the service that they were kindly providing you for free in the past with, because of the amount of shit that's going on in their own lives. There is a new model coming out where you can commission. And Julius, I spoke with you about this. That and that guy charges $20, $20 for, and that's the cheapest thing.
15.
How much?
15.
He charged you 15? Bastard. I think you're right. I gave him 30. Because he's my friend and he's been doing this for so long and he's fucking helped me so much. And, you know, okay, for example, like Regen, €15. Okay, thank you. Regen, fucking awesome. Ilka, fucking awesome. Ilka does all that shit for free. And, you know, whenever I do something with Regen, I try and buy a banner ad from them. Here's $20 to say thank you. Because so many of our community are that they charge next to nothing. They charge nothing. So as a result, they are being overwhelmed. So, you know, maybe one thing I am trying is instead of, because I'm trying to say, okay, about 10% of the income goes towards marketing. That's bullshit. It really should be 25%. But hey, so I'm always trying to think of better ways to be hitting that mark. This is such a, we could talk about marketing. We could talk about marketing if you want. My problem with marketing is that there doesn't seem to be any answers. Marketing works, self-marketing works when you're at this level. Hey, and Julius, can you remind me the name of that publication? Just type
Which
it in.
one?
The one that's charging $15. No, yeah. Well, Carl was generous. Yeah, the name of the publication that charges $15 for this. Anyway, I've totally forgot what I was saying. Somebody help me. Someone prompt me. What was I talking about?
I'm confused.
Okay, I was talking and I lost my train of thought. I'm trying to find down here. Sorry, they've got.
Carl, don't you think that working on Kickstarter has been a good alternative?
Yeah,
'Cause
thank
get a
you.
lot of
Actually,
publicity.
this is what I wanted to say is that the whole punk rock attitude, thank you, Rob, let's get to that. The whole punk rock attitude towards I'm going to do all of this stuff myself only works if you're here. But unfortunately, so many of us are here that you don't have the brutal resonance. Thank you, brutal resonance. So many people aren't at that level where they can start hitting DJs themselves, can start hitting magazines themselves, etc. Because they haven't been in it long enough. They don't have as much of a name. They haven't made as many contacts with magazines, etc., where they can be hitting these people. So, you know, maybe it is better to be sending Brutal Resonance $15 or $20 or $30 and doing an ad in Regen to help these local people out so they can push you, and then doing an own ad on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Kickstarter is excellent. It's really, really, really good because it lets the wider community know that you're doing something, and it pushes out a little tiny bit beyond that. So yeah. Also, you know, we've mentioned the whole Bandcamp has got, you know, from people who have supported you in the past, they can, you know, jump on it again. Does anybody else want to throw in here? I feel like I'm going around in circles because we've talked about this before, and everybody's going, Carl, you've talked about this before. Eric, go.
Yeah, maybe just to add into that, like even with Kickstarter, what Carl was saying, we're like different levels, like most of us are here, and it's even with Kickstarter, like it'll branch out a little more, but that's still a big company, and it's harder for people like us to get traction and get going on something like that. So again, where do you want to spend you're investing in yourself? Where do you want to spend your money in advertising and investing and getting up there? Is it with big corporations that don't give a shit about you, or is it something like what Julius put there with I thought that was really cool. I just checked it out. The Brutal Resonance magazine. It's a smaller publication. It's got a following. Stuff like that. Like maybe investing in, and it's local, it's smaller. It's like you're putting your money, punk rock. It's a DIY. There was a small community, and keeping the money within that community and promoting yourself until you get to the level that maybe you can make more money and get more advertising from bigger companies that start to care about you, because now they're going to make money off you. That's all they care about. It's just capitalistic nature. Can we make money off these people? Can we make $1? If not, we don't care. But once you get to the level where they do care because they can make money off you, then maybe that starts to be worth it.
And there's also there are a lot of other smaller magazines that are like this, and you know, when these guys say, "Hey, can I have some money for writing a review?" I say yes. Fucking let me buy you a damn coffee, because these people are, you know, they're donating their time to try and help the scene build. And I just want to talk about this for just 1 second, Sean. I see your hand. Just it is really important as a musician, as an artist, you decide on your worth and you give yourself worth. It's because, like, you know, as a musician, you go, oh man, I love this and I love doing it for free and it's all about the music and I love it and I love it. Yes, it is. That's great. Oh, Christ, Shay is yelling at me. Thanks, babe. So, can you hear that? Jesus Christ. She didn't get the right brand of fucking cat food this morning, and she's pissed. Anyway, it's really important that I always attribute it to playing Dungeons and Dragons. That you're this little character and you've got 20 life points, 20 give a fuck points. And you start the game with give a fuck points, 20 of them. Now, if you're going to play your rock and roll D&D, the whole thing, and something happens, you get a bad review, lose 1 give a fuck point. You break up with a band member and it's pretty bad, lose 5 bad give a fuck points. You're single, it dives. No one gives a fuck about your album, lose 5 give a fuck points. Before you know it, you don't give a fuck anymore. There are no more fucks to give. And your game is over because you're bitter and you're fucking jaded. If you have a situation, and you know, sure, if you get a good review or something good happens, add 1 give a fuck point. But the thing is that if you are constantly giving your energy for free, and that could be financial return or it could be gratitude return, whatever it is, whatever the economy we're talking about here, you're going to deplete yourself really quickly. And you're going to get bitter and jaded and angry at yourself and angry at everyone else. And unfortunately, because of this is a problem that our community faces, that DJs are expected to do their thing for free. Musicians are expected to do their thing for free. Magazines are expected to do their thing for free. So as a result, there is a lot of people burning out. And now more than ever, because of what's going on. So that's the end of my rant. And the bottom line is that you're worth something. And if you're not getting that currency of gratitude, if it's money or gratitude or whatever, if you're not giving give a fucks back, then don't work with that thing anymore. Focus on what you do, because that wonderful energy inside you that creates this beautiful music, it does run out from time to time. Sean.
Thanks. That's great advice, actually. Amazing. Just circling back a bit on the thing on the PR side is, especially if you're, as you were just talking about your levels on how you get to a certain level and then you can start to reach more people just because you got here, but you were just down here. That to me, at least in what I've learned in the last while, is that when it's a good idea for help, because if you're on a budget using that lower end computer and you're pumping out the music and you're putting all your time into it and you're creating some part of what you're doing, of your world that you're building is suffering. It isn't getting all of your attention. And like you were saying, brutal residents and a number of publications and people will help you with that. It's a matter of how you find them, get a hold of them, and how much time you have to dedicate to it. And that's where I found that side, if it's somebody that you can work with, is helpful, because if that campaign goes, it's not so much that you're just going to become a celebrity, it's that it raises you up, your awareness of you, your brand, and what have you, to a certain point. It's enough that you are recognized, so that you can start to do that yourself later and get those responses and building your own list. So if you have somebody that has key tastemakers and DJs, you don't have that list, but now you will, and they're aware of you, and it gives you the tools to maybe make different choices later, but at least it gets you to that level, if that kind of makes sense. It seems to work a bit if you just use it at certain points, not for every single.
Yeah. And that's also the really good thing, is that you can be trying something different, and we can come here and kick around a marketing idea. You know what? Maybe that's something that we should be doing right now, because like all of us are in a situation where we're at a point and we want to grow. So we can talk about that. And I just want to say really quickly, the last thing you want in your, the last thing you want to happen is for you to explode. You don't want that. Because trust me, you don't have the. There is this logistic thing that's got to be in place to hold that structure. And when I was in university, I was with quite a few of my friends exploded, and they just crashed and burned because they weren't used to what's going on. They didn't have management in place. They didn't have PR in place. They didn't have, there was all of this shit that you need to have in place that they didn't have. And as a musician where it's just you can survive at my God. Hold on a minute. I've got a cat that I have to deal with. Maz, take over. John, can you be the chair?
Oh, because I was eating? Sure, yeah, no problem.
Hello. I felt like we were sort of on the topic of I thought it was really interesting what Carl was saying with the hit points. And I could sort of relate to that with the past couple difficult years I've had. And the really important thing that I learned in therapy was about values, and how it's really important to figure out what you value and stick to that, so that it helps in situations where you might get emotionally overwhelmed or unexpected things might happen. I personally learned that some of my biggest values are community and making art. So that when I'm going about my life and something happens unexpectedly or makes me emotional, I could sometimes I even literally put it on the wall what my values are, so that I know all the time, okay, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't have to beat down on myself. I'm still working towards those goals. And I feel like that's really important for music to sure, we want to make music, but what are we trying to accomplish by making music? Why are we doing that? And I've asked myself that a lot, and I have my own reasons. And I just feel like if anyone hasn't really done a lot of thinking on that, it might be a nice thing to think about to help you in your way and with your art making.
No, thank you so much for opening up like that. And I'll question for you. How can you give an example of how your values have shaped your art?
Yes. I feel like the big thing for me is that I still don't have that much out there yet, but what pushes me to keep going is that I know my values, because I have a big track history of giving up on stuff. So um, what made me work through and get my track that I finished was like literally looking at the words community, joy, and self-expression on the wall. And like even when I was like in editing hell, like trying to edit a stupid video I've been working on forever, I'm like, okay, I just got to push through it, because I know that I want to work towards that and keep making music and doing that. Yeah, thank you.
Rose?
Oh, I'm back. There I am. Hey, so that was a really interesting topic. Thanks for bringing that up, Matt. As far as, let's see, I've been doing music for a really long time. As I've mentioned before in the chats and stuff, and that's why, you know, me and Carl go so way back, because when he came to New York, we ended up, you know, meeting and becoming friends, and, you know, and it was really cool to see this person that I had admired from like across the pond. And I was like, oh my God, you know, it's actually like here in my town. And so I think it's really important to, you know, some people say don't meet your idols and stuff like that, but I think it's really important to be a good partner in the community, to be open to other people, and to share whatever you can. You know, never be afraid to give, you know, a hand up or be a friend to another musician, because they're going through the same things you are. Even the people that you see that maybe, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Sometimes when you're on social media, it's really, really easy to compare yourself to somebody else's success. And even if they're friends, to have that little green-eyed monster inside of you tell you, oh, you know, look at what they're doing. Why aren't you doing that? You suck. You know what I mean? It's like a spiral that happens, you know, because you're constantly comparing yourself to the perfect image that you see, you know, on the social media. But it's really important for you to understand that even those people that seem like everything is going really well for them, they're just giving you the curated version of their life, you know, for a variety of reasons. It's not because they're trying to trick you, really. It's just because maybe it's easier to present the good things than it is to present the struggles. But when you actually get to know people on a real level, you'll see that, you know, that perception that you have of them having like this perfect situation is really not true. Everybody has struggles at every single level to become an artist, to be taken seriously, to feel like all the insane amounts of efforts that we're all making just to continue making art are worth something, and they are, you know. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to say.
Thank you. John, thank you so much for covering the base. Can I get a really quick Twitter version of what I missed?
The conversation turned a little bit towards the use of values in art, and recognizing of what is important for yourself, and how that molds what you consider acceptable and what is worth pursuing.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm sorry I had to jump out. And thank you again, John, for taking over. And Mez, I'm really sorry I missed it, because it sounded like it was a bloody good rant. Eric, hit me. Rhythm stick. Go.
Just to circle back to it. Welcome back, Carl. What you said before about the life points. It's extremely hard, especially like just me personally too, is I'm already hard on myself as it is, and I'm trying to be better of not being a perfectionist, and, you know, get it done instead of perfection and stuff like that, where it's just like you don't hear feedback from your stuff that you put out. It's just like that's what takes me down a lot too. It's like, well, you know, I sold this many whatever, and like, but I heard back from 3 people out of whatever 50, and it's like, well, 47 people hate my shit. The other 3 like it, so it's like my points go and up a little bit. But I think music, in my opinion, music production and producers are the most underrated musician in the industry. When you think about like, you know, all these bands and rock stars, and especially nowadays, you only know a handful of producers. But when you look at like producers on albums, like, man, this album's really well done. And a lot of bands, like bands, with your traditional whatever, guitar, keyboard, bass, drums, and you hear like the way it's produced, a lot of those electronics and keys that are in it are by the producer putting that album together, and nobody knows who the fucking producer is. It's like, oh, this band's awesome. Like, who produced the album? It's the same thing with like editors and movies. I think they're the most underrated. Like, you hear about directors and actors and like all these stars and stuff, but it's like editing a film is really what makes the film go. And a lot of times the director will have, or the producer will have, you know, lots of say over it. But like, it's just amazing, like how two key factors in two different industries, nobody knows who these people are. You know, it's hard, like doing stuff like that. I'm ranting, I'm done.
Thanks for the rant. Rose.
Oh, that was just a leftover hand from before.
Okay. Today's Zoom is really brought to us by animals that are not behaving. John.
Hey, so on the subject of social media and it being kind of a double-edged sword, and you know, it's like it is absolutely a place where people present their self, you know, image as like this is the most perfect form of it, and that's something, you know, there's a subreddit that is like Instagram versus reality, that is images of people with and without filtering and those presentations. You have an audience, by the way. You can say hi. See, people are waving. Yep, I know. Okay, bye. But yeah, what's difficult is showing yourself with vulnerabilities and showing that, like, you know, showing your screw ups, showing your mistakes. There is a YouTuber called Nerd Musician who teaches people how to make audio MIDI equipment specifically, and so I've been following him. And one of the more powerful things he ever put out is, especially like watching his stuff, like there's a lot of self-promotion in there. It's like, it's all about how great he is. And then he puts out this video. It's like, this is how I screwed up this project massively. And it was a commission, and it was like, I bit off more than I could chew, and here's all the ways that it failed. And, you know, that was really centering for me. Like, because at first, like, I had this kind of like vision of it as like, wow, he's really self-aggrandizing and really kind of full of himself. And then like, here is this like really kind of like down to earth, this is how I messed up and like how I ate it and what I learned from it. What's important is when we're participating in social media is showing that vulnerability, not being like this constant like flood of negativity, but showing that there is more to life than just putting out the perfect track. Like, and also what you may self-identify as not perfect, other people may disagree. You know, I am terrible at knowing what is going to land well. Like sometimes there would be a track that I love, and like other people listen to it and it's like, that's terrible. And then other times it's like, haha, I made this as a parody, as a joke. And other people are like, this is great, make more of this. I'm like, but sure, okay, cool. Yeah. At the end of the day, you're engaging. But so I don't know, if you're on social media of some sort, post about your F up, your failure, like something that you're not proud of and why. You know, and it's not about wallowing in self-disrespect. It's not, you know, it's about celebrating what you have learned from this experience and how are you going to try to do things differently.
Awesome. Yeah. If I may, it's really funny with social media as to how much, I don't know if people know this, but I kind of had 2 days off social media over New Year's, and it was brilliant. My heart rate went down. I have a stutter. It went away. A whole bunch of things deep in my body came down. I realize that social media is an obligation, or, you know what, I'm not going to speak on behalf of people because I can't. I'm not going to. For me, it is an obligation. For me, it is a pain in the bottom. For me, I constantly question how far I is this stress worth it? Compared to the payoff, because I want to make money. I want to make music, and I want that music to help me pay my rent. Because I don't do anything else. But is this constant requirement to look beautiful in front of a camera, constant, non-stop, building clever content, is it really worth it for me? Because ultimately, this unshaven guy wearing a cap, not really giving a fuck, looking at my synths in the background going, you know, there's some parameters on that machine I really want to fuck with. Wow, can I turn this into music? That's what I care about. Me taking a selfie and doing some content for something else, to me it's like a side project. It is stopping, and I know, you know, people here are going to have different perspectives, and that's great. But my whole thing constantly comes down to, I want my music in front of people. And if they're buying it, even better. If they're streaming it, that's great. I want my music in front of people. I do not know. I don't have any hard evidence, like any hard evidence, that all of the energy that I put into social media actually sustains that. Like physical purchases, physical downloads, actual streams. Because when I look at stuff that comes off, like long-term stuff that comes off Spotify or Bandcamp or wherever I'm tracking stuff coming from, it ain't Facebook. It's through my direct emailing people. It's because they have already got stuff. And yes, I understand that that stems from Facebook. I guess I'm sort of dancing here. I just don't, I question the value of the bubble. And for other of you, there's no question because it works. For others of you, there's also no question because it doesn't work. You know, to the extent for me personally, I don't know. And then the other thing is that the world is full of this static because everybody is screaming at the top of the lungs and now it's just white noise. Do I want to stand there and add to that static? You know, to what point do I really just want to take a step back and go, you know what? I just don't, the energy, the give a fuck points that I was talking about before, when it comes to social media, that hit 0 years ago. I was talking to my friend Charles, who got a 30-day suspension because he said something slightly wrong. And he said, I'm suspended. I went, congrats. When I got suspended, I don't know why I got suspended. I couldn't question it. I couldn't do anything. It was the best 30 days. Best 30 days. It was calm, relaxed. I wrote so many lyrics. I made so much music. I got so much done because I wasn't feeling the expectation to fulfill this endless void of I just don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You know what I give a fuck about? I give a fuck about Emacs. It's like, hey, I give a fuck about the world. Emaxes, low quality samples, distortion pedals, and telling people to get fucked in new and in interesting ways. That's never happened before. That's what I'm really interested in. I'm really interested in pissing people off because we live in an age now where people need to get fucking pissed off because this static, you know, it's funny. No, please, let me get meta for a moment. Somebody was fucking having this conversation with someone and they said it's like going to a door. You want to ask the internet something or figure something out online and you open the door and it's screaming. So much screaming, it's static. Close the door. Now the next door is going to give you information about something, or it's going to, I need to find my audience. How do I go online and find my audience? You open the door and it's screaming. Oh shit. Then I'm going to go to the next door because I don't know what to do here. So I'm going to go on YouTube to find a video to help me find my audience or do something, and I open the door, and guess what it is? It's screaming. It's 10,000 people saying, oh, I made a video about blah, 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 and it got me really good results, and they're standing in front of a Lamborghini, or some bullshit, and it's like, do you think I'm an idiot? Or maybe I am an idiot because I'm watching this shit. I don't know. I've become aware of the meta within meta because meta's really hip right now. That's meta. That's really meta. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about how pissed off I am with everything. And how lucky I am that my income is derived by telling people how pissed off I am. So is yours. Sean, how's your puppy?
She's doing better. She's all relaxed now. She's just really upset I was ignoring her. I was just going to ask the group a question on exactly what you're talking about. Is, you know, for all the effort everybody puts into the social media and their daily updates, or hourly or half hourly, I find myself, and I don't know whether it's just because I wonder if I'm just being a jerk, but I just like, sometimes I'm just like, okay, the first I don't know, 5 times that you've reminded me that this is happening, or we're good. It seems to be like an oversaturation, and where they're taking like what you're saying, where it's people are promoting on it, but then it becomes obsessive. It's like, I know 10 minutes ago I said I released this, and I just now it's been 15 minutes and I want to let you know that 10 people responded, and it's just like this. And by the end of the day, you just really don't want to see anything more from these people. Do you guys do you guys see that a lot? And why do people do that?
If I may,
please.
A marketing thing is that you have to tell somebody 5 times. 5 times before, if they're going to buy, you have to tell them 5 times. And it's so ironic that I am now saying exactly the opposite to what I just said. And there is that's meta. Or is that ironic? I don't know. I think Alanis Morissette should do a song called "Isn't It the Matrix?" and that would just explode people's minds. You have to tell them 5 times, and 1% of your audience is going to buy. So if there are 10,000 people in your net, 1%, so that's about 100 people are going to make a move. I had something else really important to say, but I don't remember. Mark? Oh, Mark's, I don't know. Alex, what's happening? Mark's going? Someone's leaving. All right, Mark, thank you for joining us. You're a bloody legend. Or no, he's not. I should read the chats. It's just...
I was just waving goodbye. Just waving goodbye.
So you're going? Mark's going?
No, this is passive.
I was waving goodbye to
now.
Mitsuki. That's what I was doing.
What are you waving goodbye to?
Eski.
Oh, Maz is gone? I love you, Maz. See you next week. Sorry. I haven't had enough coffee, but... And, look, there is a really underlying question here as to everybody's mental health. Like your mental health. We were talking about this last week a little bit, that the mass exhaustion that we are facing, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Julius, go.
I generally agree on hating over social media, but I still think it's a great tool to not only for marketing, but to engage with your audience, your business partners, and your musical colleagues. So yes, there is a static, but yes, the difficulty is to create your own bubble in this and to create this engagement. And it's not only bad, even though I hate it too sometimes, but if you do it right, it can be very helpful.
That's brilliant, man, and I appreciate that. Eric?
Yeah, that is good, Julius, and hearing stuff like that always makes me feel better about it. And it's just like, I think you need to just, me, need to just focus on certain amounts of social media because it's overwhelming. I hate it, and I think one of the things with social media too is, especially like in my instance, is with my anxiety so high, whenever I open the Instagram app, I feel my blood pressure go up. It's not even like, I'm not even planning on posting anything. I just go on and check on a few things like, what's up, who's up, what's this person up to or whatever, and I can't do it. So then it's just like, how am I going to post and do all this all the time? And it's like, yeah, I know you can force yourself and it's part of like, you have to do it to do this and that, but it's like, you don't have to do it. Like, yeah, it's going to help you, but it's like, it's not worth, for me, for my mental health, it's just not worth it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And then I think it also shows through to your audience maybe sometimes. Yeah, you can pretend, kind of like what John was saying before, show the, maybe not the perfect things that you're doing. You can pretend to do this, but like people still see through bullshit, I think. Like you can hear it in your music and whatever you're doing. Like I think I make great music and I love making music, so you hear it in that. Are my posts on Instagram the best? No, because I hate doing it. And I think people see that. I mean, maybe it's just me. I see it. I'm like, that's crap. No, it's because I don't want to do it. And then I actually made a TikTok account and I was just like, no, fuck this shit. I cannot do this. Like I open it and I'm getting like, I had to go turn off all these notifications and shit from it. It's like, why do I care? Again, going back to twerking and this stuff, like the bombardment of stuff from TikTok was the worst of all the social media things I saw. And you had to go in and turn every single thing off for that. And I'm like, there's no way I can do this. Even if I make videos and put it on there, and I was thinking about trying to do it again, it's just like, man, it's hard. It's really hard. And to try to push through and do something like that is just like, you got to put up that some kind of mental force field barrier or something to go full force into war. Because, man, yeah, rant over.
Very briefly, both TikTok and Instagram are explicitly designed to maximize engagement, which is why it's notifying you all the time. It wants you, that is their business model. So there's other more low-key solutions, but it's designed to do that. So that's why you have that experience. Sorry, Rose, go ahead.
You heard the man.
So as far as that stuff goes, some things that you can do are things like Hootsuite. You can basically schedule your posts ahead of time and have it go to multiple things, and then that way it'll limit the amount of time that you have to spend on the less desirable networks. If you're in a position where you're making a decent amount of money on your other hustles or whatever, I would even suggest this would be a good time, if you're monetarily sound enough, if it's really giving you that much issue, managing your socials like that, that it's actually affecting your health, virtual assistants, you know what I mean? Fiverr, stuff like that. You can find somebody that will be able to manage your social media for you, if it's really that hard on you. You know what I mean? Because I feel you when it comes to I had the craziest 2021 and 2020. I lost a lot of things, including my father, and it was really hard. And it my emotions took a huge dive. I wasn't able to be as productive as I was before. It was a lot. It was a lot to have happen in 1 year. And it's really important to attend to your mental health and to take care of yourself. Don't feel like you have to that this tortured artist thing is actually a thing. Your mental health is more important than anything else. You being here and continuing to be able to make music is really important, and to continue to be around for the people that care about you. So yeah, man, try out stuff like that so that way you can kind of spread, if you schedule your stuff and then you just have, those posts automated to go to other stuff, maybe that will reduce the amount of angst that you feel, and you don't have to be on every single social network either. You can narrow it down to 1 or 2 and just you'll actually be more effective that way because you're not spreading yourself so thin. Find out where you're getting the most traffic through your website analysis and SEO kind of back end stuff. Check, use the tools that are available to see, oh, actually I am getting a lot of attention from this. Oh, I actually am getting more traffic from this and that and the other. You know what I mean? And that way you can figure out where you want to invest your time so you're not on every single one. You know what I mean? Because it does get to be a lot at a certain point.
Thank you so much. Hey, I just want to jump in. Can I just ask a quick question with a show of hands? Which of you guys are currently on Twitch, watching this on Twitch? Could I just see your hand? It's 1, 2, 3. I can just see 3 hands. Okay, cool. Thanks. All right. So, I'm currently working. Well, I'm working with a whole bunch of people. Maybe more to the point, they're working with me, or we're working together. Because that sounded really wanky, and it's not wanky. We're just fucking helping each other out. I'm working with someone at the moment, and this artist is very good at songwriting, very good lyrics, very good da-da-da-da-da, but they miss a core image. The core part of their marketing is missing, which is the image. And I think image is really important, as you know. What you probably don't realize is that I'm not very good at it. I'm actually fucking awful at it. And that's why I get someone to paint a picture or get a photographer. Because I can't do that shit. But the trick is that, when I'm engaging with these people, I'll tell you, if you spend $400 on a photo shoot, and you come out with a bloody good photo, it's $400 really well spent. That you are defining your look, and that's your album cover, and you might even shoot a video on there, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. You know what I really want to talk about right now? I was going to go into a rant about, fucking social media and how to do this right. I was talking about this briefly last week. What the fuck is going on? There's going to be a lot of swearing in this rant, so be warned. So why are we living in this bubble thing, or maybe it's just me, where we suddenly have to output and output and output and output and output. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, when was the last time you had the weekend off? Really? When was the last time you had a day off? Really? And yes, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, but you can get on your car, go to the mountains and go for a walk or something. John, yes, I know you do that. But maybe I'm just a fucking workaholic and I'm an idiot. But I know a lot of you guys are too, but not idiots. I am aware that there is, and this isn't some corporation that's made us do this. It is us. We programmed the algorithm with the choice of our clicks. What I'm trying to say is that we have to be so cautious of exhaustion and frustration and what this constant need to feed this beast that we've made, and feed it dumb, trivial shit. Really? Who wants to see my fucking 10-year challenge? Who gives a flying fuck? Really? It's just so your thumb can keep doing this. Because you're bored. That's fucking it. Like, why? The whole idea that has everything that we've built come down to the point, I'm sorry, is this too deep? Everything that we've built, all the music that I look around and we've got 100 and something years worth of musical input here. All the work that you've put in, you add up all of our time, you've got over 100 years, easy. Has everything come down to we entertain people who are bored? Is that what this is about? Like, fucking seriously? Like, I'm sorry, I'm going on these rants and stuff, and I'm doing all of this research into the ever-growing authoritarianism that is not just a left thing or a right thing. It's dead fucking center. what the fuck is going on? And how the fuck, you know, Eric, when you were saying that your heart rate goes up, holy shit, man. Yes. Why is dumb, trivial shit so fucking important? Why is it defining my life in something that is not making my life better? It's not helping me in any way, shape, or form. This is the fucking Matrix, or is it an Alanis Morissette song called "Isn't It the Matrix"? I don't fucking know. And I was talking last week that the way you see a black hole is because light bends around it. Light is bending, and it's not bigger than these meteor ideas, or this. It's smaller. Fucking something's going on, and you know. What's great about this shit that's going on is that I need to turn these into lyrics, and I need to check in with you guys, because sometimes you go, Carl, no, calm down. You've had too much coffee. Or, you know, maybe there is something there, but it's not quite as terrifying. I think something is going wrong. I think that we haven't got the opportunity to sit down and talk about this because there's so many fun fucking distractions that... And I encourage you in your lyrics and in your music, slam this as hard as you can. If it's me, then maybe I need to take a fucking chill pill. I've talked to so many of my friends about microdosing and it doesn't fucking work for me. Because it's not fixing the fucking problem. Everywhere I go, everyone I talk to, they just want to take a photo and put it on Facebook. And I haven't had a real conversation with a real human being such a long time, except here when we go off the Zoom, and last week where we can talk. So I'm going to shut the fuck up. And obviously the overarching thing here is this is fodder for music. You know, this is the inspiration for, you know, Rage Against the Goddamn Machine. Eric.
Yeah, Carl, I think you nailed it when you said it's for boredom. It's just people being bored. And music, not all music, obviously not everybody is this way. Not everything fits into a nice little package. But just going back in like TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, like when you hear songs or like certain songs blow up on TikTok and stuff happens, nobody gives a shit about the song. It's the people dancing to it. It's the boredom of what it is. The music has just become a parody of itself. And it's this people being bored and going on there. Nobody gains anything from looking at social media. Unless you're following accounts that you actually gain knowledge or you learn something from them. But most people, 90% of people don't do that. They look at useless shit just because they're bored and their algorithms tell them to do this. Like reading books. Like I get laughed at when I still buy physical books. It's like, you read books, like you just do that on Amazon, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't want to go through their algorithm and have them tell me I want to go get what I want to get and read it. Watching movies, even anything like that is really not boredom. You do it because you want to do it. Social media is 100% boredom. You don't go on social media because you're like, hey, I'm going to go look at 10,000 images on Instagram because that's what I want to do. Like, yeah, well, you want to do it, but why? Because you're bored, because you don't want to do anything else. That's just how I see it. And the algorithms and the way they go through this stuff is just boredom. Everything on there is boredom. Again, what do you gain from anything on it? It's not even entertainment to me. Like, to me, it's not entertainment. It's just there.
Can I ask you a question? So
Yeah.
What do you do? Because you just explained what I do. I get bored and I go on. I just do it. Before I'm looking at, yeah. But so what do you do? How do you stop this? How do you stop this, Eric? Not them, you.
I wish I had an answer, Carl. For me personally, I've never liked social media, and ironically, speaking of like, isn't it the Matrix? I was actually an advertising assistant for a company before my last job, and it was brutal, and I fucking hated it. And here I am as an advertising assistant putting shit out and the store I worked for was amazing, but I hated it, and I had to quit, and I had to go somewhere else. Kind of like you were talking about, working with all the suits and stuff, and it's just like, this is not for me. So I've just never been bored to the part of wanting to go on needing to go on social media because I have nothing to do. I always have something to do that I enjoy, whatever it is, and I have a lot of hobbies. So puzzles, movies, I read a lot, hiking, exercise, whatever it is. Like, I always have something I can do where I've never been to the point where I'm just like, man, I'm really bored right now. And honestly, the pandemic has changed things. And not to get into too many personal things or anything, but like, I haven't had a job from the pandemic, and my unemployment ran out in September. My savings now are dwindling down. Like, I need to find a job this month, and I've been bored this time, and I don't want to go work in the pandemic still. Like, I'm scared to go out and get COVID. Like, I'm 100% vaccinated. I still wear my mask all the time, no matter what. But I'm still like, I don't want to work with people. I don't want to talk to people. So my boredom has actually gone up, and I've never had that problem before the pandemic. And the pandemic is just, I don't know. But I still don't go on social media and maybe, Carl, maybe it's because I know it's going to happen. It's kind of like the, what are you going to get if, like, when a dog's doing good, you're going to get a treat, you're going to get this. I already know when I open up my Instagram, my heart rate's going to go up and my anxiety's going to go through the roof. And my anxiety is already high enough. So I know opening up apps and looking at shit is going to make me worse, so I don't do it. If that makes sense, maybe. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Thanks. Thank you very much. And thank you for making me feel like I'm not alone. And in answer to your question, when I realize that I do it, I drop my phone, I literally drop it, and I walk out the door and I walk around the block. And it is like there is weight of chain attached to my legs. Because I did a blipvert on internet addiction, and this is straight up addiction. This is a dopamine thing where my brain is lying to me. And it's like dragging chains out that door, walking around the block, and I take 2 steps and I'm better. I walk around and I'm back in the spot. Wow, my stutter is so in right now.
Yeah, that excitement and that dopamine, that's the program that the Matrix made.
Yes, it is.
Directly into your brain.
Yeah, that's ironic. Thank you, Eric. Drake.
Hey, yeah, I have to leave shortly because I work on weekends too. Like, I don't know, it's just constant work. It's if I'm not working on music, I'm working on trying to pay the rent, and it's just whatever you can do, right? And I've got a 15-year-old daughter in the home, and her generation of people, they don't know what Rage Against the Machine is. What? You don't know Rage Against the Machine? Like, it's just crazy. A lot of the stuff that is a part of my reality, I can't even share it. Through my music is about the only way I can share it, because the standard retort is conspiracy theory, and that's fine. But my reality is different. I know people that are dead. I know babies that came dead out of people. Had nothing to do with COVID. I don't even want to get into that conversation, but things for me cease to be a theory when I have direct experience with it. And social media is insane. It's absolutely insane. It's like this thing that I feel like I have to do because it's one of the limited number of avenues I have to push what I'm doing artistically out there. And yeah, man, it's stressful. It's unrewarding. It depletes my give a fuck points, but I do it anyway. To keep myself sane, I have to schedule it. I only do it if I have something that I'm putting out there, and I'll go out and I blast it and then I'll walk away, and when I'm bored, I pick up a book. I work on some graphics for my next post. I try to be productive with any free time that I have. It's just that, just trying to keep it manageable so I can keep my head on straight. because there's so much other shit going on right now. It's just absolute insanity. Yeah, I feel like there's this rage inside my head that's just it's raging against the machine, but it's so fucking quiet in my head. And music's the only way I have to get it out there. That I don't get this fight back. I don't want to fight with people. I feel like we all should be in this together, you know. And I want to say what I have to say, but I don't want to fight about it. You know?
Thank you.
And I gotta leave.
All right.
I love all you guys, man. This is
quickly.
awesome stuff.
The rage that's in your voice and your music is incredible. And I love the way you've actually really inspired me to lift it up a notch and to keep it real. So if there has been positivity here today, bring it into your music. Because when you fucking scream, I listen. And I love what you do. So,
thanks, man.
Fuck
That means
off.
a lot.
All right. Good
All
on you.
right. We'll
Have
see
a
you
good
next
day,
week.
mate. You're a bloody legend.
Cheers, mate.
All right. Thanks, mate. Alex.
Okay, well, I think one thing I want to say is that there is great art on social media, but it's really buried and the whole system is like, I don't know, really, really draining. I wish there would be a better outlet in seeing this, because some is really great. Some of people I know, but some of people I'll never meet. Yeah, I think one of the better social medias is Tumblr, but there's almost no one. And yeah, I just started unfollowing people who just who I like, but just don't have like content that makes me feel something positive or like something meaningful, and just concentrate off the few friends I want to keep in touch. And I also don't argue with people. I think that's like a trap. There's like, don't. That's all I have to say.
Good on you, mate. Thanks, Alex. Sean.
Hey, so I just wanted to, you were hitting on some excellent points on the effects of social media. And I guess this isn't really purely music related, but, especially with Eric, I've seen a few now lectures from neurologists and so forth, explaining the impact of modern technology on humans, and that we weren't really designed for this constant over multitask stimulus that comes from every direction to us now. And they're attributing it, yes, as everybody's kind of noted, to the rise in mental illness and so forth, because we evolved in a way for a certain set of tasks and a certain linear quality to how we were going about things, and now we're being barraged in every sense of the word all day long. And the impact is very powerful to what you see happening with people and the addiction that comes with it. And you start to, it's almost like you keyhole into things. I feel it myself. I'm not interested at all in what I'm scrolling to. It's like you come back to yourself and you're like, why am I doing this right now? Like, I went to look for a specific purpose, and all of a sudden you're scrolling through tripe for no apparent reason. You don't remember why. It's a scary thing.
I guess that one thing that you're lucky with is that you've got that wonderful little being on your lap.
Yes.
And you can take her for a walk.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She is a suck bag.
It's really interesting that my cats, Shea and Mordecai, they let me know when I'm looking at my phone and not looking at them.
Yes.
And I'm trying to become conscious of this, that I should be giving my attention to my wife, to the cats, to something tangible, like exactly as you were saying.
Yeah.
what this fucking neurological trap is doing. But anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off then.
No, that's exactly it. It's that's probably, at least for me, it's time in the forest, as I mentioned last week. It's getting all of that phone, everything. There's no signal, there's no nothing, and just going and getting back to what you were made for, where we came from, getting that connection. It's I think it's key if you have the ability to do it and spend some time out there. Take some time and go out while it's still dark and just put your back on a tree and sit there quiet while everything wakes up. It'll write you right back into place.
Good on you. Thank you, Sean. Julius.
Yes, I was getting distracted here. 1 second. Okay, so even though I am pretty much pro social media, if you can say that, I do understand everybody's pain with that. But I think what every one of us needs to remember is that we are the active part here. We get to decide what we are exposed to. No matter if we're talking about the macroverse of social media, Instagram, whatever, or real life. Okay, there are certain things we have control over, and we should use this opportunity. Yeah, and another recommendation from me, if you have to use social media but can't for psychological reasons or just need a break or something, there is this website later.com. It lets you plan posts for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter even, and you can just go on this website, plan your posts, and don't have to visit the actual social media site. I'll post it in the chat.
Thank you. That would be excellent. Thank you very much. Rose!
All right. Two things we were talking about earlier, owning up your mistakes. I screwed up when I posted the lyric videos because I originally had them unlisted because I was sending them to publicists and to other people and stuff, and I didn't want them to be public yet. So now they're public, and the links are in the chat. So if y'all could do me a solid and leave some comments to get those lyric videos some more traction, that would be super helpful. Also, there are apps. An app that a friend of mine uses is called Off Time, and that is one to kind of block like Facebook and other super distracting, games or whatever, any of those things that you have on your phone that are like, okay, I have to use these things, but I want to control more, how often I get those notifications. And so you can use apps like Off Time and other apps like that, and they'll actually like limit it for only certain times of the day that you'll get notifications. Like you can do all kinds of different stuff. So I just wanted to give the name of that because I mentioned it earlier, but I couldn't remember the name at the time, so I had to look it up.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you for letting me have a rant. You're welcome to disagree with me and tell me to calm down. Sometimes I need that. But my concern is that people aren't having the ability to connect on a really personal level anymore. So I'm just going to go out there and be fucking crazy and say it. I always appreciate what you guys have to say. I listen. I really listen. I'm thinking we could call this because we're pretty close to the bubble of bubbledom. And Rose and Sean, if you guys can hang around, I want to ask you a bit more about your PR and experiences. Maybe awesome. And to everybody else who joined us, and I have to find the damn thing to go to. Hold on. I want to thank everyone for joining us. We've had most awesomeness today. We're going to raid to MTV TV now because it's bloody awesome. So rock and roll. And see you next week. This time next week. You rock.